July 30, quarter to 10. So we're getting samples for the buyer to look at. So currently people, Kaloy for example, my cousin is saying 20 peso 50 cents. I had a couple of agents here saying the same thing, and then I have a buyer out of Nueva Ecija, and I'm hoping that he would go 22. So I've taken samples, 4 samples, and I'm in the process of disassembling the panicles, and then after that from the panicle disassemble it again to get the spikelets. The reason why I multiple step is I wanted to count how many tellers, and then once I have that I would then average out whatever numbers I want to see. So this is the start of understanding what we'll be getting here in Munoz. So this sample is taken from the west side of the road. Sample is south side west. Nagkapon natin? Oh, okay, so east side of the road, south, north side, and west, east of the road. So south side and east of the road. So here are the samples. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and they all come from different places. This one total mass is over 6 kilos. These are under 5 kilos. They're over 4 kilos. So we'll see what the actual mass yield will be. So the first sample is 388 panicles. I'll see what the masses is going to be. So the mass of the first sample is 1.33 kilos. So I was hoping it was going to be 2 kilos, however that's the way it is. So there are 440 panicles here. So I'm going to find out the mass. So this is the sample of 2 square meter, 2.8. The second sample was 1.5. So this sample is 412 panicles. Let's see the mass. So the third sample is 1.22 kilo. I'll add it to the other ones. So we started harvesting Munoz, and the price here is 20 peso 50 cents. And we waited for a buyer from Nueva Ecija. However, they were expecting the rice to be dried a certain way. So they wanted super dry. Well, they're not getting it. So we went ahead and sold it locally. Now, I've gotten 2 samples, and the 2 samples mass is 2.8. So 2.8 divided by 2 is 1.4 kilo per square meter. And basically 1.4 times 10,000 square meter is 14,000 square meter, 14,000 kilos. And with the correction factor, it is what it is. So The rice is beautiful. It's that's what I've noticed. The thing is, the fertilizer went to the body. It didn't go to the seed, to the fruit of the plant. And so this RC640 is a nice plant. The challenge is it didn't transfer the fertilizer to the seed. So we're not gonna use RC640 in the future. I don't even know if we were gonna use Matthew 600. So that's the future. Yeah. Oh well. This is how it goes. So off into the distance, there's sacks now being loaded. So with two harvesters, it's really quick. Let's see, one harvester is equal to the rate of harvest is 1 hectare per hour. So if it was just one harvester, then this would have been 7 hours. With two, then 7 hours divided by 2, so it's 3.5 hours. So this will be done in 3.5 hours. And they're pretty quick. The land is dry, so it's 3 hours or less. Most of the job is the having the carabao move the sacks to the road. So, and a lot of the neighbor are harvesting now, so they're taking advantage of the weather. So there's plenty of empty shells. So that's where a lot of the losses comes from, the empty shell. And the other losses, of course, is well, that's the majority of the losses is these unpollinated rice. The other part too is the harvest index, where the body, the plant itself is putting a lot of effort into its body, and it does what it does to the seeds. I mean, that, or the fruit. So this variety RC640, I couldn't get the other. I couldn't order the long ping. Oh well. Yeah. Some people might be using RC640 and they have a good yield. Maybe. My experience right now is I wouldn't want to use RC640 in the future. Having it experienced once, I don't want to repeat the experience again. So this is 415 panicles. Now I'm just find out the weight. The last sample is 1.2. I'm gonna add it all up to the 4 samples. So the total mass for the 4 sample is let's just call it 5.3. So I'm gonna divide that by 4 and see what it is. So 5.3 divided by 4 is 1.3 kilo per square meter. That's the yield, and then multiply that by 0.4575, and that would be the actual yield. Based on the sample 1.3 times 70,000 square meter, and then multiply that by 0.4575. Basically, that would be the estimate yield, close to actual. The 42 tons is the minimum, and it will be less than last crop. So again, why? So there's multiple reasons. One is the harvest index. The variety put a lot of effort into its body, and the seeds. Sadly, it's the last thing it does. The other thing is I see waste, empty shell. So those relates to because of the El Nino, and I had a hard time flooding the rice field. So I noticed there's quite a bit of panicle exertion also. And the other thing too is when they were flowering, it rained. So that adds to the disturbance. So there's multiple reasons. I mean, that's for the weather. Is there a best time? Actually, no. In the wet season, there's no best time. You get what you get. Now, the thing is about the variety itself. If I only knew in the past that the harvest index is related to the body of the rice, I would have looked into that also. What would have been the best plant to use? And it's not something that one should guess. So now that I'm starting to check the mass of the entire thing, and then what's the mass of the seeds, then also counted the panicles. So all of those data I will compile. I know that because the harvest index is related to mass, and my yield factor is related to mass. I know that the two, harvest index and yield factor, will trend. I just don't know what kind of trend it will be. So that's the next thing I'm gonna look into. But certainly the harvest index is related to rice variety. So that's the thing I'm gonna look into also. What would be the best variety that would allow the body of the rice to heavily bias toward making more seeds and putting more mass in the seed. So that's really the key. And sadly, I didn't know this until recently. Lessons learned. So they're stacking the rice on the road, and our neighbor is also harvesting. So it looks like everybody's busy. So the harvester should be done by 4, and yeah, that's how it goes. So we have these elf waiting to be loaded. 31 July, around 6:15, quarter after 6 in the morning. So we mostly completed harvesting Munoz. My estimate yield was 42 tons, and the actual yield is 43.5 tons. I really wish it was more than that, like around 10 tons per hectare. However, it isn't. So I'm asking myself the reasons. Lots of questions. Our neighbors all around, they also harvested, and a lot of the farmers around here, their yield If you think of it in kabans, some are 100 kabans per hectare, some are less. So it varies from 70 kabans per hectare to 100. So the Munoz area basically is a little over 100 kabans per hectare. There's a portion of the rice field that there's quite a bit of greens, so the buyer says I don't wanna take it. So we're just gonna wait till they're ripened. Probably by Saturday they would be ripened. Today's Wednesday, I think. So quite frankly, the tri-split works to make the plants healthy. So what we did to make it look good, we did very well. What we didn't do too well was getting the rice plants to give us the yield we needed. I actually needed that, not wanted. It's a need. So I mean, if you look at the stubble, like in previous crops, I don't see the stubble like these. So tri-split did very well. So there are multiple reasons. So I have to go back to what you call harvest index. The mass of the plants versus the mass of the seeds. The ratio of those is the harvest index. So first you need the plants to grow and develop itself. And then once it did that, it now focused on the seeds, generating seeds. So the theory goes, well, it's not a theory. However, the plants really need to produce seeds. So how much of that is something that I need to understand. So again, the weather played a big factor. Huge. The second is the variety. So I was looking at the seed skin, and the skin of the seeds is really thick. I know we noticed that. We look into that. So, and also because of the pollination, I mean, take a look at these wasted seeds. Like some are green in milking stage, as you can see. And there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit of waste. So honestly, that's half of the what should have been what should have been harvested. The question is, should we have waited a few more days? Yeah. The challenge again is weather. You know, if you wait too long and then the weather changes to something silly is typhoon, then the losses would be even higher. So really, you have to factor in the point of inflection. When do you trigger the harvest? So multiple multiple reasons to trigger a harvest. You gotta do it now or do it later. Later, typhoon comes, and then all of the plants topple. Well, not all, but several, many square meters, and then yield loss would be even higher. So, quite frankly, looking at this variety, it's we made it look good, and the yield wasn't where we wanted or needed to be. So, we're not going to use this variety ever again. RC640. I mean, I wouldn't use it in the future. The harvest index in this one is quite low. So the higher the harvest index, like 0.5, it's good. I think the harvest index here is even below 0.3 when I did uh, a quick mental math. I mean, think about it. 1.5 kilos divided by 6. Well, that's less than 3, 0.3. So, I mean, I couldn't control weather. It's just that when I look at during pollination, it rains, and this variety focus more on body building than body seeds building. So it's not really great. So that really suck. So what are we gonna do next? I have to find out what kind of seeds I would like to plant next go round. Long ping might be. I don't know. I don't know what's good. So in summary, the yield expectation wasn't even close to 50 tons. It would have been nice. But however, I hate that word but. However, why didn't it happen? What are the reasons? Major factor is weather. And these seeds, empty seeds, is related to weather. And that is during when they're flowering, pollinating, it rained. It will disturb the seeds' ability to pollinate. So they will become sterile. So that's sterilization. Second is the variety. We did the tri split. The plant is beautiful, I must admit. However, the variety spent its time bodybuilding. It did not spend time to develop the seeds. In fact, the shells around the seeds is quite thick, so the nutrients went to that also. So what else? So that's two. Variety, weather. That's it. That's pretty much the two major reasons that uh, influence the yield. The the plants and the seeds. When I will look into that. I mean, there gotta be a variety that would stand the rain during rainy season and continue to develop seed building as opposed to body building. So the thing too is the past 5 years I've noticed that second crop rainy season really is a challenge. It's just it is. Now when I was planning all of this, I didn't factor the weather. I factored in mainly the fertilizers. If we do tri split, we would have a yield of so and so. That's mainly what I focus on. I mean, I focus on also harvesting end of July, which we did, and that was disturbed by the weather. I mean, next week would have been the schedule for harvesting these, and because the weather is like so, there is huge uncertainty. We decided to harvest a week early. Was it the right thing to do? That is unknown until next week comes. However, even that, so what if it's sunny next week? The point of inflection has to be factored in because next week could be like typhoon galore, and then what? So yeah, these are the things that I factoring into growing rice in the Philippines. Thanks for watching.